from pre-modernization to post-modernization. In this book from the 70s, a British book, there's a lot listed. And now we have said first and foremost what is modernization. And that is the industrialization of a country, and that there is a proper administration, and also that there is training in technology. And intellectual abilities are there a lot, and also that there is a working system of medical and social welfare things. And most people striving to get that. In some countries who have reached it already, the expansion of industrialization of other things is oftentimes not so much liked, because the negative consequences are seen that we're overweighing the positive ones. For example, is the seeing of smoke associated in these countries when with destroying of the environment. Other countries, if they see smoke, they just see the modernization, positive things. Some countries are diminished in their growth of modernization because they're having a big increase in population. For example, India risen the population from the 1950s to the 1980s in a double. Now, there are not also something else. The technology has made progress, and it is possible with atomic weapons to basically kill everyone on the planet, but also has the medicine made progress, and it is also possible now to prevent infant mortality almost completely. Now, there are different political ideas. For example, Marxism arisen, and that gives an explanation for the misery that some people have, and also how it gets better. Nationalism also, that gives the people cultural identity, and also solidarity against foreign exploiters as idea. The whole industrialization and modernization is fueled on fossil fuels, a lot of it. And there's a big shift of wealth from these modernization countries to some other countries, to the people who have their control over the oil, for example. For example, in Kuwait or in Abu Dhabi in Libya, Saudi Arabia. And also another thing is, for example, the company General Motors has made in the year 1970 so many cars in the amount of which the cars which were sold in the year 1970 by General Motors was more money than the whole country of Yugoslavia, Greek or Egypt is doing with altogether. Now, some people have already released post-modernization or post-industrialization. And pre-industrialization was mainly working on extracting raw materials from the ground, so coal or whatever. And industrialization was a lot about manufacturing of goods, and now it goes more to intellectual abilities, to universities, to theoretical knowledge. And theoretical knowledge is an asset which can be used technically by everyone, and it cannot be used up. That is why many countries putting a lot of money in education and also. Another thing he argued in this book is when said that humans no longer fight against nature, but against other humans. And there's also a lot of things necessary to keep societies now working. There's a lot of health necessary, welfare, and so on. And there are also firms now necessary to work on the system, basically. There are trade associations representing the consumers and the producers of things. Now, there are many different jobs listed. The United States lists over 20,000 occupations types. And some of them need years to study for, others just a few months. And in these occupations, there are the more foreign workers working, where it's easier to go from job to job. And that happens, for example, in Germany and the United States of America. The next thing is, if the people have grown apart, is argued in this book, that the people, they are making holiday in other countries. They are no longer bound to the rhythms of the season, to agriculture when they have to sow the seeds, or to the manufacture of the machines or whatever. They are bound to other things. And they're making the holidays in other countries. And if they have in another town a better occupation which gives more money, they are changing the town. And if now a family moves from town to town, they are losing their contact to their relatives. And that way the distinctive flavor, dialect, attitudes and so on of the region gets lost. But the people all over share a common body of knowledge about mass media. They watch the same movies, the same books, and so on. They have a shared knowledge of mass media. And through that they are able to communicate with each other over their other social backgrounds. And the next thing in this book is that also the clothes have changed. People are no longer identifiable by their clothes, what class they have, and the fashion is changing rapidly. And the old becomes the new. So basically the people were what they want. And many people decide to try, if they have the money and the means to acquire it, and also know what clothes to wear. They have been trying to become part of through the t-shirts, what they were, to become part of a jazz group, so to become part of it, or of movies or something. But here's an argument in this book that does not give a central link of community actually, as once the churches or other things did. Now another thing here is said that the most post-modernization countries or modernization countries have reached literacy. Basically everyone can read and write. Other countries are still struggling with it. And also basically all around the world with the mass media aspect, getting these mass media, and they can see what can be achieved and they want to achieve it. And now people, they have all something pervading in all their life, and that is bureaucracy and organization listed in this book, is said in this book here. And that means that all the people are basically organized, all live by the same rules and so on, and all people are organized, but they don't get a feeling of togetherness. They're just organized. Another thing that's said is that of children, of students, of pupils, it is suspected to find a form of free expression and of identity. They are offered choice and also the ability to express themselves, but they don't really have the structures and the loyalty necessary to form an identity in the first place. They are organized in two big scales in schools. They are moving from classroom to classroom with different pupils and so on, as he argued. The next thing is that also authorities figures have declined. People no longer have so much policeman, person, parent, political father figure or God listed in this book here as an authority figure. Also it's been said that also the elites are calling for equality. And people no longer work so much in their own business, in their own bookshop or whatever, in their own corner shop. They work for large corporations. And they are in these corporations not interested in the profit which they make or the whole economy, but just in their own employment, because they don't take part in the profit. The next thing is when many people don't blame themselves or another individual person for a problem if it occurs, but the whole system. Many people want to say the system, how the society works, but they don't want to take the risks to adapt a new one. Then the rise of sociology has happened, and there was also said that many people who were oppressed in wood forms, whatever, were also in by the whole group and by the whole system. And that had brought progress in discrimination against women, where women get the same rights as men, and also that people who don't have a white skin color also get the same rights. This idea of sociology, that every form of discipline is a problem, also went on into achievements, was been said in this book here. So that also schools are affected by it. And there's no said that in the schools the free expression is more important than the skill or literacy to get. And that there are people from other countries who are going on to these countries, want to get these modernizations, literacy, skills and so on, but in the schools, in these schools are oftentimes offered expression of these other things. Also another thing is when said that the people have grown more homogeneous, that the people have an opinion about many different things, basically about all things, and that it is possible for a small group of activists to make, at that point, something and then change the whole direction of the whole country. A small group of activists at one point is able to change the whole direction over the democratic majority of it. But that it is not so big in countries of pluralism, many countries who are post-modernization in Western countries, because there's a great form of pluralism with different religions, different political parties, different institutions. That doesn't happen so much there, that some group of activists can have an influence on the whole political region. And another thing then said is that in some countries there are other secondary things growing, and they are basically striving for having just one identity, one religion, one ethnic and one country. But it's also not so strong in Western countries. In Western countries, post-modernization, there's the idea of liberty and people of different ethnic groups with different ideologies and different ideas are there, so that these countries are giving the people the option to have their own individualism. That all is according to that book here, Reader's Digest, Library of Modern Knowledge, Book 2, Part 8, Man and Society, written by C. L. Beddock, Hugh Jocelyn, Emily Court, Peter Loyce, Lucy Mayer, David Martin, Jacqueline Sarsby, Ruth D. Whitehouse, J.C. Woodburn, on the page 444 and 445. If you click the video away, then please tell me what the reason was, so that I can improve. Otherwise, hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn political science. Today, the dilemma of modern man. And after we've done that, we're going to do martial arts basics training. And if you participate in the martial arts basics training, then it's at your own risk. This is part 4-5 of it. And I'm trying to go over what we had so far. We want to go over the text, gather the information together mentioned here, and try to save them then for memory. So what did we have so far? Many countries are striving for modernization, and modernization is industrialization, training in science and technology, proper administration, and full range of social and medical services. The book is from the 70s and it is a British book. The next thing is, in some countries, in some already modernized countries or post-industrialization countries, some people see more negative things with expanding the industrialization than the positive ones. The example is, some people in some societies see the sign of smoke and dust as something negative because it destroys the nature and the environment. In other countries, they don't think that when they see smoke and dust. They see just the growth. The next thing is that in some countries the growth is diminished through a drastic population increase. For example, India doubled in 30 years, from 1950 to 1980. The next thing is that there are political parties for the problems named further on. And there's, for example, the idea of Marxism, which tries to give an explanation for the problems in the world and also hope that it gets better. And nationalism gives a cultural idea of cultural identity, and so as an idea of solidarity, and also solidarity against foreign exploiters. The next thing then listed is that there are a lot of fossil fuels needed, and that shifts money from some countries to the people who are controlling the fossil fuels in other countries. For example, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Libya. The next thing is that there are some firms so big that when they're selling things in 1 year, like General Motors, they're selling more worth of parts as other countries like Egypt or Yugoslavia or Greek are in 1 year selling at all in anything. Some countries are post-industrialization. There it happens best that the intellectual abilities are becoming more important. No longer manufacturing goods. So the pre-industrialization was the beginning was of industrialization, extraction of raw materials, so coal and so on. And now post-industrialization, more technology, intellectual abilities, theoretical knowledge, basically. And a new class has arisen, I don't know, they are not named here, so I have to have a name of the students or the people who go to universities. And then was something named here? It is now, Bell argues that it is no longer humans against nature, but humans against humans. The next thing is that there are, in the West, new professions and skills proliferate with the growth in size and complexity of modern industry. The corporate guilds and family concerns of the past have been supplanted by private and state firms, business and trade associations, and bodies representing producers and consumers. Oh, yeah, I finally understand the sentence. The first sentence is the important one. In the West, new professions and skills proliferate with the growth in size and complexity of modern industry. There are firms necessary to work on the other things, to work on the complexity of the other things. They are necessary to have corporate guilds and family concerns. The corporate and family concerns of the past have been supplanted by private and state firms. The corporate guilds and family concerns of the past have been supplanted by private and state firms. Business and trade associations and bodies representing producers and consumers. So there are also new occupations with people working on managing how the people live together. For example, corporate guilds and family concerns. And firms and businesses and trade associations representing producers and consumers. There are over 20,000 jobs listed in the United States. Some need years to learn to be allowed and able to do them. Others only short, and in these jobs there's more hopping from job to job, and also more foreign workers working there, for example, in the economies of Germany and the United States of America. The people have not grown so much together because they have an increased mobility. They go to holiday in other countries, and they change the city if they get a better job in another city. And they are no longer tied to the natural rhythms of the seasons, and also not to the fabrics. If a family moves in another country, they are separated from their other relatives and they're living more isolated. So people moving, cities, towns and so on, and through that solidarity and community are more lost. It is all argued here in this book. I'm just trying to explain it. The people losing basically the distinctive flavor, the distinctive speech, attitudes, dialects, Therefore, something new has arisen with the mass media. Basically, everyone in the world, or most people, having a shared culture out of shared movies, which basically everyone watch, or music which people hear, or books which people read. And over that, they have a way to communicate over other things like religious, racial, and social background, shared body of knowledge. Let's just say probably men of various religious, racial, and social backgrounds share a body of knowledge that helps them to communicate with each other and to reach common standards of behavior. And most people in these modernized worlds can read and write. In other countries, not yet. There are people also going to other countries, for example, Christian missions, who are then also doing their schools building, hospital building, printing work, small-scale industries. The fashion is moving so fast that people no longer identify it. People no longer are recognizable by what fashion they wear, what class they have. They try to get part of a community by wearing t-shirts of pop groups, or of movies, or something else, but it does not give them, is here listed now, these exclusive groups provide no central link of community or of local character and style as the churches and other voluntary organizations once did. It's a bit hard to explain the sentence right now. It's pretty simple technically. And the other thing was, this fashion is moving so fast that the old is again the new, so that people are no longer having one fixed one. There's bureaucracy and organization basically everywhere. And the humans are managed and organized, but there grows no sense of togetherness or community. They are just managed by the same bureaucratic rules, but they don't feel like they're going a part of togetherness or community. And also in schools, people, the students, the pupils are moving with different classes to other rooms and other people. They are expected to find identity and what was the other thing? To find their identity and express themselves, but they are offered choice and freedom for expression without the stable structures and loyalties which make identity possible in the first place. I don't really understand it all, but basically the example is that we're moving from place to place. The result may be the disconnection and rootlessness that some sociologists call enemy. So now we're reading on. That was what we had in the past parts together. These are the things we want to say in our video as the things listed here about. Our video should have a title from modernization to postmodernization, or from industrialization to post-industrialization, something like that. We're just trying to gather together the informations listed in this booklet. Proverbs of authority, 8 minutes. Technically, it was the time. No, it's fitness. A school or society in constant movement faces a problem of authority. In the past, sentiments of obedience revolved around the parent, schoolmaster, parson, policeman, political father figure, or God. Such images are now tarnished and the controlling sanctions have been weakened. The elites themselves lose confidence in defending rank or discipline and join in the call for equality and free choice. People blame society or the system for whatever happens and jettison the idea of personal responsibility. Individual initiative is downgraded and influence is operated by group pressure. That's a bit difficult to explain now, but we can list it. Figures of authority gotten lower and weakened in their possibility of sanctions. Also, the elites are calling for equality and free choice of everyone. People are blaming the system or society for people that's happening and not their own personal responsibility. And individual initiative is downgraded and influence is operated by group pressure. So the people down themselves have an initiative, an individual initiative, an idea to pursue an idea and do something. They are doing things based on the group pressure, what the other people are doing around them. Self-made men, corner shopkeepers, and the solo professionals become obsolete. As community ties weaken and the search for individualism grows, so true independence withers. And just as people are less capable of independence, so also are entire societies. The growth of huge corporations, some richer and more powerful than governments, has encouraged the decline of the entrepreneur and the rise of the functionary. Dependent on employment, not on profit, he has little interest in economic freedom or the taking of risks. So the first thing was, less people who are having their own business, basically. The community ties weaken and the search for individualism grows, so true independence will rise. So the people don't have so much community, but they're still trying to be more individual. And that causes that independence goes away or with us. I don't really understand it, but maybe you did. And the people have less possibility to independence. They are working not in their own businesses, but for huge corporations. They are not part of the profit of these corporations, I think it was someone said. So they have no interest in taking dependent on employment, not on profit. He has little interest in economic freedom or the taking of risks. At least the first thing, they don't work for their own business, but for huge corporations. They are not part of the profit, but just interested in keeping their employment. And so they basically don't care for economic freedom or taking of risks, or otherwise they don't even come into the positions of it. Whatever, at least the first 4 points. Now, over time, we made a little progress, but I think we made a big progress with the rest. We're having one more. We're going over it also. We try to remember all these things and try to list them. What is here said in this book, strong out, what is said here, so that we have it all nice together. If you were here for political science, you can go directly to the next part of political science, where we will continue with the last part of that page. If you stay here and participate in the martial arts basics training, then it's at your own risk. One leg up. Yeah. Take the foot at the ankle, make a straight back, and put the knee on. Other leg. Next one, up, one over to the side, toes in front and stretching the inner side of the leg. Over to the other side. And go from side to side. Back into the middle. And a few lunges in front with the right leg and back. And with the left leg and back. Right leg and back. And last one. And now the shovel snowblower exercise. One knee up and back, and knee up and up and out, and make 1 to 3 steps. Another one out. 1, 2, 3. Here behind top. Last one. Left leg. And now stretch kicks. Hang out, kick against it. 1, 2, 3 steps. Out, kick. And now the frog. So back with the knee. And other one up and back. Last one. And now crash can kicks. Whole leg up, back, up and in. Up and back, up and in. And last one. And now lunge kicks. I'm going to kick now close to the camera. So in front of the left leg and kick. Leg again. Right leg in front and kick. And left leg in front. Kick. Last one, right leg in front and kick. Squat down and kick to the side. Down and kick. And if you like, squat and move. Squat and Christian kick. And now 12 push-ups. Hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the tailbone in and down. Elbows close to the cage. And the second one. And third one. And fourth one. 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Let's go on the 9 and 10, 11 and 12. One leg up. Other one. Next one apart, breathing it out. Out, breathing close the legs. Breathing it out. That was the martial arts basics training. I thank you very much and until next time.